we should be thanking the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian leadership for what they're doing, because it is they who are actually preventing World War III right now. It is too damn bad that the mass media do not report this properly. I will never agree with fellow conservatives and non-conservatives who've taken the side of Russia and Putin in this monstrous war against the Ukrainian people, ever. I just know too much history, I know too much about the military, and I know about Putin, because he's written about what he wants to do. He claims territory in Poland and Romania, in the Balkan states, belong to Russia, and you want to see World War III, he rolls through Ukraine, and there's nothing to stop him. So I am not going to be convinced that the Jewish president of Ukraine, who lost family to the Holocaust, is a neo-Nazi. And I'm not going to believe that Vladimir Putin feels threatened by the United States, therefore he invaded Ukraine, when he talked about it long ago, and he's not the only one. He's a thug. He's old KGB. And the idea that we have conservatives supporting a former colonel in the KGB for East Germany who's responsible for the torture and slaughter of those people, as well as intelligence against the United States, turns my stomach that I even have to say this. Now, that said, he's made it clear that his ambitions exceed what he's done so far in Ukraine. I want you to take a look at this clip from the Wall Street Journal about what they call the Suwalki Gap between Poland and Lithuania. Go.
This tiny strip of land in Eastern Europe is being called NATO's danger spot. It's known as the Suwalki Gap. It forms the border between NATO members Poland and Lithuania and lies in between two Russian military strongholds. Military strategists say this sparsely populated area with hills, forests and small villages will be a prime target if Russia decides to attack NATO territory. Poland and Lithuania are worried about this scenario becoming reality as fighters from the Wagner mercenary group arrive on their doorstep in Belarus. So here's what's at stake if the Suwalki Gap comes under attack. The Suwalki Gap is around 60 miles long and separates Poland to the west and Lithuania to the east. To its northwest lies Kaliningrad, a chunk of Russian territory with a number of military bases. It's also home to Russia's Baltic naval fleet and its only port on the Baltic Sea that doesn't freeze up in the winter, but it's not linked to the Russian mainland. The most direct route from Kaliningrad to Russia will be through the Suwalki Gap via Russia's neighbor and ally Belarus. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko allowed Moscow to use his country as a base to launch the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Military analysts say Russia could attack from two ends of the Suwalki Gap, with soldiers from Kaliningrad and forces advancing through Belarus, which would leave NATO members Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia isolated. Moscow would also gain more access to the Baltic Sea, a crucial gateway for commercial shipping. NATO has few options to defend its Baltic members by land. They'll have to send in reinforcements through Poland to Lithuania by crossing the Suwalki Gap. Only two highways and a train line connect Poland and the Baltic states. That means this narrow strip of land could become congested with troops and military hardware. The stakes were raised even higher in recent months. First, fighters from the Wagner mercenary group started relocating to Belarus after aborting a mutiny in Russia in June. Then, according to Belarusian television, Wagner troops began training Belarusian soldiers just 3 miles from the Polish border. Poland's prime minister says the situation is becoming dangerous.
Mamy informację, że ponad 100 najemników grupy Wagnera przesunęło się w kierunku przesmyku suwalskiego niedaleko Grodna na Białorusi.
Warsaw responded by sending up to 10,000 extra troops to guard its border with Belarus. Poland and Lithuania have also closed some of their border crossings with their eastern neighbor. NATO has tried to strengthen its defenses in the region.
We're set and ready!
Multinational battle groups with around 1,000 troops have been set up in each of the Baltic states. Large-scale drills have taken place in the area close to the Suwalki Gap as a way to show NATO's readiness. The Baltic states and Poland have also ramped up defense spending. They have all vowed to spend 3% of their GDP per year on defense, more than NATO's 2% target. The leaders of Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia want NATO forces to be stationed in the region permanently. In the meantime, NATO's defense capabilities in the area strengthened with 2 new members, Finland and Sweden. This opens up a gateway to reach the Baltics by sea and air, boosting any potential defense on land. Finland and Sweden's militaries also add hundreds of warplanes, tanks, and tens of thousands of soldiers to the alliance. Analysts say this makes a Russian invasion even more costly. Finland and Sweden's integration means Kaliningrad is effectively encircled by NATO. Any attack by Russia could leave the exclave vulnerable to isolation and blockade by the alliance. Analysts believe Russia is unlikely to launch an armed attack on the Suwałki Gap while it has its hands full with Ukraine.
Stop. See, this is my point. We should be thanking Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian leadership for what they're doing. Because it is they who are actually preventing World War III right now. It is too damn bad that the mass media do not report this properly, including people on my favorite network. We are loaded with hosts who are, in my view, on the wrong side of this. They know how I think, I know how they think. It's just the way it is. Go.
Polish opposition leader Donald Tusk, who's campaigning to become the next prime minister, accused the government of using the Wagner threats to stoke fear ahead of October's election. But Poland's government denies this. Still, NATO's eastern members say Wagner's presence on their doorstep remains a security risk. That's why they want to make sure the Suwałki Gap is well defended to deter any potential aggression from Russia.
Now, what does this tell you? I'm a cynic. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That whole thing with the Wagner group trying to decapitate Vladimir Putin and his power was a farce. It's a way to get these Wagner troops into Belarus under cover of a phony coup. And ladies and gentlemen, we just learned here, as we prepare this broadcast, oddly enough, coincidental timing, that the commercial business jet that was carrying Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, and a number of others, crashed. Not too far from Moscow. Tusk is reporting, and obviously everybody on that plane is dead. Just another coincidence. And the pro-Putin individuals within the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, they'll just have another explanation for this. But this is Putin. Putin obviously had him murdered.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.